Welcome to Big Boy Crypto, the people's channel, home of the BitSquad, which is the largest and most fantastic and most awesome crypto community in all of the interwebs. My name is DZ. Make sure you're checking me out on NFT Alpha Show as well. It's Around the Blockchain. We come to you Monday through Friday at 5:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We talk about your favorite topics, and today we're doing it with the best panel we've ever had in the history of this show. And speaking of panel, today he's rocking the subtle flannel, and you got to make sure you're checking out his channel. Talking about Crypto Blood, of course. Then on the bottom right, he's crypto for life. He'll teach you not to catch a fallen knife. And before the show, he was gushing about his wife. Crypto lifer, always great to have you on with the new background. And I guess he was doing some woodworking. He's got the protective glasses on. Then we also have Steve. Yeah. What's going on here? We got Steve.
I love you. I just gotta say I love you.
Hey, and then of course, Mr. McGarry, also known as Steve, and his pet peeve is watching his gains leave. So check out his channel. It'll tell you how to hold on to your Satoshis. Then on the top left, he's talking crypto every day in every way. And I'm actually proud to call him my essay, Altcoin Daily. That's not a California joke just because he's in SoCal. It's my last name's Valdez. I can say that. Today we're going to be talking about $1.8 billion in Bitcoin expiring options. What's going to happen to the price? I will say this. It's going to have a giant move up or down at this point about 36 hours. Also, Vitalik's soul tokens, soul bounded tokens, your soul wallet. What is going on? Is Vitalik coming after your soul? No, we're not talking about that. Sounds like one of those other coins that we're not going to name. Then also MetaMask trying to team up with authorities to help recover stolen assets. What is going on with that? But before we do, let's talk about the crypto markets and where things are heading. And it's not the best direction. We're down. We're down on, we had a slight green on the weekly. I think we have the weekly closing in about 3.5 days. Record numbers of weeks in the red here. But Bitcoin seems like the record might continue. Crypto lifer, we're hanging below that 30,000. We have a record number of weekly red candles. Can the streak continue?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't want to hear that. You're the perma optimist. Yeah.
No. I am the perma chart guy. Everyone always try, because I never, I'm always open-minded to wherever we could go because I want to get as much Bitcoin as possible. See, my goal is to get as much BTC as possible. So I believe we will go down. I've seen these options expire, and I've seen huge dumps before. I'll tell you, we're hanging on a ledge here. This is our level we need to hold. It's like 28,005. We did wick to it earlier, but if we break this level, we're going to 23, we're going to 20K. Everyone says you can't go to 20K, you can't go here, you can't go there. Don't listen to people who say you can't, you won't, I feel, I believe, I think. I'll show you what the charts say, and then I'll show you the news. Breakdown here. Remember we talked about TRX here 3 weeks ago? That chart went up that I put out, even though people kind of giggled at me. That chart went up. It's up 20%. Think about this. Look, Bitcoin on the daily, right? This is what's called a symmetrical triangle. I drew it on the 4 hours, so it could be a little cleaner. But you can see we kind of had a double bottom here with that wick today as we got back into the pattern. Measured move up is 31. 31. Measured move down is 25. Stochastics are high on the RSI, stochastics RSI. Let me show you something. I'm not a gambling man. I'm a trader, okay? When the stochastics are up here, I short the market. Look at that. Beautiful short. 1. Right there. Beautiful short. 2. Right there. Beautiful short. 3. Right there. Beautiful short. 4, 5, 6. You want to do a 7th one with me? I'm ready to short the market. If I'm wrong, so be it. The probabilities go up, and I get stopped out. But you know what? I just do what the charts tell me to do, and it's telling me we're going to 25K. It is what it is. We might get a relief rally up into this, this zone here, this resistance zone that I got right here at about 30,000, and we could even bounce up to 32. But the charts are telling me to watch out that we do have some more downside on the daily time frame. All right? Okay,
and I might have to ask you about that just real quick. Weekly, does that matter to you that it's a record amount? I mean, does that just the charts really don't care if it's a record amount of weekly candles?
To me, that's just like, what does that mean? I mean, that's like someone said you go to Vegas and you rode black, so it can't hit black again, right?
It's kind of the same equation. It's just statistically, it will happen eventually. Doesn't mean that it has to reverse course.
You can't say just because it rode black 5 times, it's not going to go black again.
No, I go all in. I go all in at that point. It has to.
Yeah, all right, that's how you go home with no money.
hey, hit that like button if you've ever left a casino with zero money. All right, let's talk a little Bitcoin expiring options here. The put to call ratio. Think of it this way: put to call. The buy to sell ratio is, I want to say it's around 1.3. The bears are in control. Looks like the options are reaching about 1.8 billion. Majority of that is people saying, I think it's going down. So we have many more people on the institutional level, this big money level. They're betting on Bitcoin to head to the downside here versus the 8. Meanwhile, we have, a record number of weekly reds. Does that matter? Who knows? We have fear and greed at 8, I believe. Very, very fearful levels here. I think last time we saw it around this level, March 2020. So we're in very, very dangerous territory. However, bull markets are going to do what the bull markets do. Crypto blood, we got 1.8 billion on the line for these options. Is this an important metric? I mean, do people even care about this? Is the average retailer, should they concern themselves when there's a giant expiration on a Friday?
No. Okay.
Yeah.
You guys should be concerned about what the Federal Reserve. I sound like a broken record, I know. Just watch what the Federal Reserve is doing. Just watch what the NASDAQ is doing. We are highly correlated with that market. And so that's where you should be looking to figure out if we're heading higher or not. Unfortunately, I think the first time I came on the show, I think it was 6 months ago or something, I said we're going to $20,000 Bitcoin then. We're still going there, people. We are, unfortunately. Doesn't mean I don't support crypto. I'm a huge crypto supporter. I love it. I got a lot of it. But I'm just like Crypto Lifer said, just giving you guys the real. And I think we had lower fundamentally. Fundamentals trump technical analysis every time. In the short run, you may see a pop or whatnot, but fundamentally, we're heading lower. We're in a recession. We gotta go through this. This is a healthy cycle, and it's good that we wash this out, and we'll start anew, in the next bull run. So hey, get prepared. Got to have some dry capital. Dry powder is so important. Please get that.
Start collecting that dry powder on the sidelines. A lot of people, maybe your favorite alt should be a stable coin. Of course, not UST. Altcoin Daily, we're getting different reasons for, why it's heading down. I know, Crypto Lifer saying, on the RSI, Scholastic, we're due for a short here. We have Crypto Blood mentioning the Fed, possible looming recession. We have Ben, he always kind of doubles down. He's still doubling down on the Bitcoin halving cycle. What to you is the number one thing that is a hurdle we have to overcome to get that price to reverse?
DZ, great to be here. Love being on the channel. To get down to brass tacks and talk Bitcoin, I think the biggest hurdle with Bitcoin is time, and what's going to affect Bitcoin in that time, just like Crypto Blood was saying, is the Federal Reserve and the macroeconomic landscape. That's sort of what we're all watching, what we're all waiting on, and everything is correlated to everything in the short term. I know some people say, hey, Bitcoin's supposed to be this decorrelated hedge against everything. Now, the issue is that the cryptocurrency market in general and Bitcoin's the biggest out of crypto, but everything is so small compared to traditional financial assets and products and stuff like that. So, crypto is affected by the macro in the short term. And, sometime there will be a bounce. We've gone down for 7 straight weeks. Eventually, we'll get that bounce. Doesn't really, the bounce doesn't mean we're back in a bull market. Again, it's what's happening macroeconomically. And I find the true bulls, they don't mind if Bitcoin goes down to 20K. They want to accumulate. Okay,
Steve, what are your thoughts on that? We might head down to 20. Asked me 6 months ago, I would have said, I think high 20s. I would definitely, obviously, I was proven wrong, wick down 25, 26. What are your thoughts about, where we are heading? We do have a record number of red weeks. I do want to, caveat, if I think we bounce, I just mean like one weekly candle. I'm not saying we just reverse direction, boom, shoot to 70K or anything. But we have a record number of downward weeks here with Bitcoin. What is it looking like to you on this macro level? Are we just going to kind of peter down to the low 20s, or do you think maybe a correction is due?
Yeah, I think the lower 20s totally welcome it for sure. I've been in this space long enough, just like everybody on the panel, to just appreciate us talking about a $20,000 Bitcoin is still pretty amazing to think about. I think everybody can appreciate that. But I like to compare it to all of the skeptics on Wall Street that are saying it's so volatile. Like, why so volatile? Number go up, number go down. But yet, like Snap, I remember yesterday, it went down, like, wasn't it 50% or 45% or something like that, just a big wick, just all the way down. And I'm not a trader, but when I see things like that, I see just this huge hypocrisy of them saying like, oh, crypto's so volatile and Bitcoin's so dangerous, you shouldn't invest in it. But yet all these stocks are just going downhill. So like Blood said, totally agree. I welcome this. It's healthy. The halving is coming in, I think what is it projected? I know it's 2024, April or June of 2024. So definitely looking forward to that. That'll be a fun party, maybe a live stream here. Who knows? But really looking forward to that. Dollar cost averaging in. Hopefully we get a 20,000 Bitcoin. So just like Altcoin Daily said, accumulate, buy more and more and more as much as you can, and then ride it back up.
Yeah, I want to say, I believe, I want to say it was April, but with the hash rate changing in China with the exodus of miners, maybe April, June it'll be interesting to see what happens, what's baked in. Will Bitcoin reverse? Will it be the same, cyclical nature?
Yeah.
Will it reduce or increase in degree? Well, we'll see. I'm along for the ride either way. All right, let's move on to Vitalik talking about soul-bound tokens. We were kind of talking about the office. The best way I could describe it is social security number for your Ethereum wallet. It could be tied to a resume of sorts. It could have your education, your work history, personal things, personal accomplishments, things that are actually tied to you and can't be transferred to anybody else. Says they are the future of Ethereum and Web 3.0. And he said they would represent a person's reputation, accomplishments, and kind of an extended resume, all sorts of things, whether it's university degrees, whether it's, your accomplishments in philanthropy or anything that you can imagine that is just tied to you, your unique identity. He wants to make it and says, this is the only way for us to move forward as a Web3 to really get that broad mass appeal that everybody wants here. Lifer, but ETH is not really holding up that well. I kind of, I brought up Vitalik's Twitter here. You can see him here. He's, talking about all types of very, very simple math. If you're like me, you see something like this and you're like, I know what that means. So clearly Vitalik doesn't worry about the price. He just keeps building. But the price is on a lot of people's mind right now. It's way down. If we pull up the current price, I know you have the chart, 1840. What are your thoughts on man, look at that Bitcoin to Ethereum differential there. Fallen about 10 times as much today. What is going on with the price?
ETH has been struggling. By the way, man, I keep laughing at what you said about these glasses. You're funny, man. I feel like I am about to chop wood every time I look at the camera.
I'm actually, all right.
You're my gun instructor.
Man. You guys, I love y'all. But
Crypto gun instructor. That's your new name.
Yeah. Back up. 1786 was the low. We bounced on a wick all the way to 1700. My thing is this, just like Bitcoin revisits 20K, ETH revisits 1440, you're going to see ETH do exactly what Bitcoin does. They're brother and sister. They're mirrored, You see a massive dump for Bitcoin. Also, look at this beautiful trend line I had drawn. Once you broke that, we have in the game, in the trading game, called a bump and run. So even if you see a nice rally here, ETH could bump this line and then it will run. So like Steve said, like the other traders here said, don't be excited if you see a bit of a kind of a bounce back. I believe there could be a bounce back. They always want to entice people. Think about it. The market maker wants to gut as many people as possible. How does he do that? He brings the market back up and makes you think there's some love in it. He has to suck you back in to shred you back down. That's just how it works. I've been watching them daily now, and the leverage traders, you guys are getting rocked and loaded. I don't leverage trade because today they took them in and out really easily. It's just, and again, what Blood said, I'm watching the NASDAQ, I'm watching the S&P every single day. If they keep raising that interest rate, they're going to push us into a recession. Bitcoin will go down, but Bitcoin will be the strongest thing that comes out of it all. So ETH will follow Bitcoin. It's tough. I accumulate more Bitcoin than ETH, but I do accumulate ETH on the side. I see ETH coming back to 1440, really, or at least to this level here, 1500. Everyone's waiting for 1500.
Everyone's waiting for that 1500. All right. Well, Steve, everyone's kind of wondering, is this going to work? This soul-bound token, he wants to have it rolled out by 2024, I think he said, and that complicated math that I was showing, it's to show proof of identity without having to reveal, and it gets, very complicated. You got a math degree. If you're Benjamin Cowan, you're probably, parsing through the data, pointing out, what's wrong with it even. But do you think that this could be a form of identification in the future? Also, do you think he's maybe trying to compete with Cardano and what they're doing in Africa with the ID and the education system?
Yeah, great question. I think that privacy and identification are something that is very, very important, to the point where in the future, as much as you want to augment your life with technology, you can parse out the data that you want to share. So if I go to a bar and I want to get in, I don't have to send him my entire rental history. I just have to send him my actual birth date, and that person can then let me in. Nowadays, it's just I throw everything I have at a service, all my data, everything about me, and I opt in, and it takes every piece of information it can possibly do, because the companies are incentivized to vacuum up as much personal data as possible. And I think that these types of non-transferable tokens that Vitalik is talking about is a great way of getting to that kind of stage where I get to pick and choose who sees what about me. And that is kind of the chasm between Web 2 and Web 3, where Facebook, Google, they've all made their empires on just us kind of fat fingering that button and giving them everything. And Web 3, with these tokens that Vitalik is talking about, I think it's a great segue into, actually, no, I'm going to give you just these pieces of information that you're allowed to view, and the rest is mine. Like, I get to determine who gets to see what. And I really like that he's bringing this up, and that it is kind of a cool trajectory for the future. But I am very, very interested to see more about it. And just like you, DZ, I can see that math and totally understand it right away.
Yeah,
so.
Very simple. It's arithmetic. Yeah, A plus B
basic.
equals C. Very, very simple. Yeah, it's like seventh grade
basic
stuff, right? All right. Well, Crypto Bloodies, talking about ways of curating in case you lose your keys. You can curate a list of guardians, and the way they said it, you set your guardians and you give them power to change the keys of your soul wallet. So you basically, I guess, you do some family members, maybe a significant other. Hopefully it doesn't end rocky. She might try to sabotage you. So what do you think of that? Do you think they should have a recoverable set of parameters where you could, I get this person to sign something, get this person to sign something. Can that be gamed? Should it be, you lose your keys, you lose your ID, start from scratch, re-upload your resume?
Not your keys, not your life.
Yeah, not your keys,
like
not your life.
For you?
That is my Harvard degree now. What? Yeah. I mean, how do you see this rolling out? Do you think there's going to be issues?
No, I mean, what is Ethereum like? The Apple of blockchain now? I mean, they have these events, and the new iPhone has got this, and that. I mean, like, it's been out. Like, us Android people are like, wait a minute, this has been around. This concept of non-transferable NFTs is not new. So, I mean, it sounds good. And I mean, I guess he's the best person to execute on it in the Ethereum community, or, kind of opine on that topic. So I guess it's great. But to me personally, I don't think that it's anything major, man. NFTs have been non-transferable for some time. We'll see what happens. Who'll actually take it. I don't know if anyone remembers Civic. I know Steve probably remembers Civic and their attempt to make that like identity on chain type solution. We'll see if this he needs a better name. He's definitely not a great marketing person.
I don't think a Richard Hart, Charles Hoskinson, I don't think, some of the better marketers in crypto would have gone with that. Now, Altcoin Daily, I know you love those marketers as well, especially the first one there. He hopes to have it rolled out by 2024. But he's also going to have his attention stretched. They have the merge, the verge, the purge, the splurge. I'm actually not making those up. These are real things rolling out in the Ethereum ecosystem. Given his track record of rolling things out with a slight delay, to say it mildly, do you see 2024 being a successful implementation of the soulbound tokens? And what would you name it? You've written some screenplays. I bet you got a way with words here. Feel free to give us the Altcoin Daily take on the branding.
Well, first question, Vitalik set a hard date on an upgrade happening in a few years. That won't be pushed back. I'm excited. And by software, there's always bugs. It's software not in crypto is often pushed back because you only really get one chance, even though there's upgrades along the way. So I do not expect this in 2024. I am excited to learn more about it and see where this goes. What I do know is that we are at the tip of the iceberg on what Web3 could offer the world 10, 20, 50 years from now. Much like in 99, in the internet bubble, people didn't even have social media on their minds. They couldn't even fathom that could be the internet someday. And then MySpace came, Twitter came, MySpace is obsolete now, and we're still in the first 20 years of the internet. Like, where we will be in 20 more years is crazy to think about. Now, what I would name it, I think you got to name it the Vitalik. Did you know, DZ, that I know you know this first one, the smallest unit of a Bitcoin is called the Satoshi. Smallest unit of an Ethereum is called a Vitalik. Smallest unit of Bcash is called a Ver. Smallest unit of a Hex is called a Richard. All those.
I didn't know those last three. I'll be honest. I did not know those. It's on point. It's on point. And, don't forget to hydrate everybody with your water or Red Bull can if you have it in your hand right now. Little water break there. All right, well, let's talk MetaMask, and they're going to try to help people recover their assets here. A little inside joke there. Yeah, so if you've lost any money in any kind of scam, obviously we've seen it. If you're on crypto Twitter, you've seen it. If you follow some Bored Apes, you've seen it. If you like Seth Green, just recently, you've seen it. A lot of people, they'll click on a phishing site. They'll click, they'll sign the wrong transaction. It'll say .io. It should have said .ai or .com, or it says .biz. And then they end up losing everything. Well, Consensus is announcing that they're partnering with Asset Reality. I've never heard of them before, but they access and recover seized crypto and digital assets. They team up with governments around the world. This is what they do. They track down the hackers via, IPs. They get it down where they bullet down, hey, we know it's you. We're looking at you right now from the satellite. The main concern is the phishing scams that they want to do, but they're going to handle most affected users, and they want to expand with some education, offer some classes. I'm sure it's going to be monetized some way, whether they take a cut of the earnings or you got to pay up front remains to be seen. But I can't imagine, this will be free. So we have Consensus, the owner of MetaMask. A lot of people didn't know MetaMask was as centralized as, it was later revealed to be. Obviously, someone had to pay the light bill. Someone had to, have the website, but a lot of consolidation of power behind the scenes here with MetaMask. Lifer, given that, the centralized entity, should a company be able to seize property without the governments being involved?
Wow. I mean, it's a very deep question, right? I love the idea when I read the article. I teach people in a MetaMask class once a month about logging in, and everyone's so used to logging in with their name and password. And Web 3.0 is you're going to log in with your basically an address, right? I love the concept of Web 3.0, having an identity and just going through and connecting to sites, not logging into sites. When I first connected to a site, I thought it was amazing. I thought it was cool. Now back to your question, I just love the idea of MetaMask and having a Web3 identity. I'd love it to be done. Sol seems a little weird, but I don't know. I mean, governments right now aren't that trustworthy, right? Like, people really don't even know who to trust anymore. That's why I always talk about starting the blockchain party. Let's put it on the blockchain. Government is the parties we trust. No one really trusts either of them. So let's start a new party, the blockchain party, and let's get everything on the blockchain. So to me, we got to just keep it on the blockchain, and that's how we know if it's real or not, if it's going to be done or not. I mean, are they going to be able to, this question is so deep for me. I don't know the specifics. I don't know how they're going to recover. I don't know who gets what. All I know is they need to educate people more about MetaMask, and they need to make sure less people get scammed in crypto. So this is a good thing, and it brings us in the right direction. I don't have any real specific answers to this question because it's so broad, but I would like the blockchain party to be started today. So let's do it.
Yeah, you got my vote. I would say when it comes to trust, I like to quote my hero, personal hero, David Duchovny, known as the Fox Mulder in X-Files, and he said, trust no one. So that's just my 2 cents. All right, now, Steve, we have a lot of scams. There's a whole bunch of scams out there in crypto. Celebrities are getting scammed. Regular Joes are getting scammed. Indeed. Everyone's getting scammed here. Should there be safeguards in place? Or do you think that maybe this is overstepping what Web3 and what crypto is supposed to be about?
So I would agree with the latter. It's a little bit more of a controversial take. But ultimately, what this started out as is self-sovereignty. Like, we wanted to go back to an age where you're in control. You're in control of your destiny, essentially. So when you send a transaction, you know, you need to do your own research. You need to make sure that you're not just smashing the sign of the, the signature of your MetaMask wallet to send a transaction. And you need to make sure that you are, educated enough to know, all right, this is all on me. I can't point to anyone if I'm at this stage of decentralization. If you go to MetaMask, or if you go to Coinbase or one of these centralized exchanges, there is a person that you can point at. And before central banks and everything, people used to just throw all their belongings on their back and walk around. And if they lost something, there was nobody to point at. It was like, oh, shoot, I just lost my brick of gold walking across the country, or whatever it would be. And now we're very much programmed to need someone to point at. And that would be under the veil of a safeguard or a protective measure, but ultimately helping people with education. And everybody on this panel does a great job of educating every viewer out there, helping people understand the importance of self-sovereignty and empowering yourself to make your own decisions, being in control of your own destiny. And these sort of involving the government things just feels really icky towards what the space stands for. And I understand people that get scammed are brand new, or they just sometimes make a mistake. And of course, MetaMask has like a support system. And I watched her speak at Permissionless in West Palm last week. And she does a great job talking about education and the partnerships they're working on. I'm assuming it was before this release. But overall, education here is king. Sovereignty is king with Web3, and owning all of your data and all of your currency and all of your wealth. So it's an overstep, in my opinion, when we can help with education instead, to empower people instead of like giving them somebody to point at.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Altcoin Daily, part of the recovery process when they're teaming up with this team, with Asset Reality, they got to take some information. They got to do their due diligence. They're kind of investigating, if you are who you say you are, if things happen, how you say they happen. Do you think there's a privacy concern with MetaMask and its partner collecting data from its users?
I think that helping people recover stolen funds, lost NFTs, that's a good thing. I like that. Coming at you for privacy, taking away your self-sovereignty, disgusting. Easy. How does it not make you sick that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency were invented to free us from the middleman?
I spit up in
and
this
all of a
cup.
sudden, and
Yeah,
thank you.
It's not
dude.
lean
Thank
in
you.
here.
And let me just broaden this conversation a little more. GameStop releasing their own NFT marketplace later this year. They just came out with a MetaMask-like Ethereum wallet as well. In the fine print, if you read their privacy policy, they're tracking your IP address. They're tracking what your computer screen does. They're tracking what your mouse pad does as you click what you do. And this is all if you're buying NFTs through the GameStop marketplace coming this year. I think this is just a little flash in the pan, a little hint of what is to come 10 years from now as we tokenize the stock market, as we tokenize the rest of the world, what these centralized entities are going to want to do and going to try to do. Now, the good thing, and I agree with Steve Hack Crypto on this, that the important part is education, because not everybody wants self-sovereignty. I think the freedom in all this is you can choose. You can choose to self-sovereign, take care of yourself, or maybe the grandma out there doesn't mind holding her Bitcoin on Coinbase. But the fact is that all these foundational aspects are starting to pop up, and it's buried way in the fine print, or they trick you into thinking, oh, we're helping you, but we're going to be collecting your data for the rest of your life. That's what we're fighting for here. Something to think about.
Yeah. And, not only is there a privacy concern, we also have legal liabilities. Now, Crypto Blood, what do you think about the liability landscape here? They're recovering funds they say is stolen, but how could they know if there's a backroom deal, maybe, some sort of verbal commitment? how would they regulate that? Do you see this as an attack vector? I mean, is this going to possibly open up more problems than solutions?
Of course it could. There's a fine line to toe there when you're talking about, self-sovereignty, right? And then having a framework that's usable for the masses. You got to have some type of escape route or recovery route to get your funds back. There are many blockchains out there that have that at the core level, at their layer one. So you guys should definitely check into those. But I just think that, and I actually covered this on many of my channel, my videos on my channel. These hardware wallets, if you look in the terms of service, they are tracking your IPs. They're tracking information. Maybe it's not granular data, but it's enough data to, kind of paint a picture of who's using those hardware wallets. So you just got to be very careful. Look at those terms of services and choose wisely. This blockchain space, as it grows, the government is going to embed themselves into it. So you need to be diligent in, what you're using, how you're using it, and so on. So yeah, I think just be diligent out there, ladies and gents.
Yeah, and be very, very careful signing anything with a wallet that has real assets in it. Someone just lost 27 Moonbirds. Like I brought up Seth Green. He lost multiple blue chips, Bored Apes that he was going to have a star in a show, and he lost. And you know how he did it? The apes were in his wallet, and he just signed a transaction. So you got to be very, very careful there. Set up multiple MetaMask. You need at least you need at least two. I'll just put it that way. You need at least two. But that is all we got time for, and it was a close one. I thought Lifer had it, but then Steve came through. I think it was the power of his wall. I don't know if there's some sort of weird dark energy coming off of it, but it worked. Steve, take us into the storm, my friend.
Awesome. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. I'm grateful to come on to this show and talk to everybody. And for people out there that are watching the number and the charts and everything go up and down, follow everybody on this panel's channel. All these people are amazing. They're going to be here throughout the bear market. They're not going anywhere. And I think that that's very important. Coming back to channels like Blood, Altcoin Daily, Lifer, and my channel's Hack Crypto. Come through, say hi, and be sure to just follow along as this transpires, because we're going to be highlighting builders. We're going to be talking about all different things throughout the bear market, and you can rely on these amazing creators here on the stream. So thanks for having me on, guys.
Links in the description. Hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you check out NFT Alpha Show, Frankie Candles, Meta Money, all the people here. Till next time, BitSquad. DZ out.